Welcome back, and welcome back to the lab at Undiscovered. As you can see, we have another in-person guest here, and we're ready to go. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Jack Anderson is here today to talk about the early life of a minor league baseball player. Like Quincy Naporti and Taylor Walls before him, Jack is a Florida State baseball product. For real though, when will I get any of my Florida Gators on this show? Because it has been a lot of FSU people. But Jack is a pitcher in the Detroit Tigers organization and has big aspirations for his career. So let's not waste any time. How are you, Jack?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on, Grayson.
So let's get to it. So thank you for being here. Have you ever done a podcast before?
I have. I think I've done one or just one. Yeah, just one. I had to think about that.
Baseball podcast or something totally unrelated?
Yeah, baseball podcast. One of my friends from high school started one, so we did one right after I got drafted.
Nice. Are you nervous for this? I have like 12 listeners that are hanging on to your every word.
Oh yeah, I'm super nervous. You're big time now, so gotta please the fans.
Thank you so much. So we met here on Undiscovered like 2 months ago, and we've thrown together a little bit. But so how does my arm look for a 13-year-old?
Arm looks great for a 13-year-old. Very fluid. Guys, he puts in the work too. So, use Grayson as a role model at his age. He comes in, gets the work done, and that's the main part about making it far in your career.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
So and I've definitely learned a lot about arm care from people like Anthony Maldonado and a bunch of pitchers that I've interviewed. So do you enjoy doing instruction?
I do. I've got a handful of kids now that I've been helping out. Ranges from 8 to 12 years old. And I think it's so important for them to learn at a young age how to take care of your arm, take care of the shoulder, elbow, and they're going to look back hopefully in 5 or 10 years and take all the stuff I've been able to teach them with them wherever they go. So just all about keeping them healthy.
So was this the first time you've ever done coaching?
No, I did a little bit last off season, but not to this degree. I've got probably about a dozen kids I've helped while I've been up here in Atlanta. Last off season, it was about 3 or 4 kids. So this is definitely a step up.
Nice. So is this the first time you've ever been here at Undiscovered?
I came for one day last year when visiting my girlfriend up here in Atlanta. Anthony Maldonado took me in and wanted to show me the facility, introduced me to Steven, and I was hooked right away. I already knew I was going to train here this off season. So
do you live here?
Yes. Yeah, for the off season I do.
So you grew up in the Tampa area, right?
That's right.
And you went to Jesuit High School, which is an all-boys school. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And I heard it was actually rated like one of the top-rated baseball fields in like the country. How is it like playing there?
The facility was great. I mean, they really put a lot of work to get that field looking nice, and the stadium's great. It was a good experience at that age, being able to play in front of stands, and a lot of fans go to those games. So yeah, it was a great experience.
So you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. But I've interviewed like 10 minor league players so far, and I've never asked them this question. How hard is it to survive a minor league paycheck in the offseason? That's part of why you're doing coaching, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's no secret minor leaguers make exponentially less money than big leaguers, and for good reason. The big leaguers are best at what they do in the world. They should be getting compensated that way. It's just part of the minor league grind. I mean, it's not just about the physical side of it. You got the mental and you got the financial side. What I found is you just gotta sacrifice some things during the season. You don't pick up that coffee in the morning, saves you $4, stuff like that. Just trying to be smart with your money. The organization, the Tigers, make it really easy for us to eat. They provide us with everything we need, so I really don't have that many expenses, but definitely it gets hard sometimes.
This year the MLB Players Association had partnered with the minor league players, and they had like this whole deal with the board, and they're making minor league players like get a better paycheck, I guess. That's something what happened, right?
Yeah, I don't know all the details. back per se, but they're making advancements just to improve living conditions. There's been a few horror stories in the league in past years. It's gotten a lot better the past few years, but um just kind of like low living conditions, but they've changed it. They've made it a lot better. I have no complaints about where I was living or my situation in my first year in pro ball. I think they did a great job, taking care of us. But it's nice to see that there's a group that's still pushing to make those conditions even better.
I'm sure every penny helps, especially early on. So okay, speaking of early on, Jesuit High School is where you lived. It was where you went to high school. But where did you like? What was your like up and coming? How did you start playing baseball?
So I was actually a horrible baseball player in Little League. Like it was kind of a joke with my parents. I was always, last to get picked in the Little League pool. But just goes to show you, it's just about how hard you want it, how much you want it, how hard you want to work.
Look at you now.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It was definitely a long road, but those days are when I fell in love with the game. Going to Little League, meeting great kids, making friends. I'm still friends with some guys that I played when I was 12 years old. So I feel like it's important to start the game of baseball just for the love of the game. If you start thinking, oh, I'm doing this for the paycheck when I make it to the big leagues, that's not enough to go through all those years. So you got to really just fall in love with it.
So you grew up in Tampa. Were the Rays your favorite baseball team growing up?
Yeah, they were. Loved Evan Longoria. Always mimicked his batting stance. The Tropicana field isn't the nicest that's out there, but I always loved going to games with my dad. We had a lot of good times there.
So my parents lived in Tampa for several years. I lived in Tampa for several years. I was born in Florida. Then we moved to Puerto Rico. Then we moved here. I think Tampa itself is a pretty good place, but as you said, the field is not that great, and it's not a great location where the field is.
Yeah, I hope they can kind of figure out the location of Tropicana. I think it would bring in, because Tampa has got a really good baseball following. I think they just got to make it a little bit more accessible for the fans, and I think they'd be selling out, honestly, if they put it in a little bit more convenient spot.
So I actually heard your school mascot was the Lions, and how convenient is that you got drafted by the Detroit Lions?
The Tigers.
I mean, yeah, the Detroit Tigers.
Yeah, no, it's all good. No, it was funny because the phrase at Jesuit is once a Tiger, always a Tiger, and that kind of worked out well because signing with the Tigers made it easy to it wasn't too much of a transition. So
I don't know why I said Lions.
no, it's all good.
So I also read that you went to an all boys high school. How was that like?
It was all right. Yeah. I got a lot of jokes from it, but honestly, like it really highlighted the friendships you made with the guys there. I had a really close group, and not just on the baseball team. Guys that I'd grown up knowing. We just got a lot closer there, and it really, I mean, it was a nice experience because you just really kind of bonded, and you got that brotherhood there that they preach. So.
So you're also a big guy, like 6'4", I think.
6'3", yeah.
6'3", 6'4". So were you a big guy in high school?
No, I was tall. I had that on my side, but I was probably $160. Gaining weight was always the hardest thing I've had to do. When I started getting looked at by scouts, professional scouts in high school, they kept saying the same thing. You got to put on weight. You got to put on weight, and I just don't think my body was ready yet for that. So I kind of was able to bulk up in college when my body was naturally ready for it. But yes, it's still a challenge, still keeping weight on.
So speaking of college, for you, what was your biggest challenge in college?
Biggest challenge was just kind of breaking into a role where the coaches would feel comfortable putting you in. Florida State had a tremendous pitching staff, and they had very high expectations for their players. So it was just kind of gaining the confidence to go in front of, 5,000-6,000 people and do the job that they've trusted you with and be consistent. Um, took me a year to kind of get used to it all, mentally, just maturing a little bit. But finally was able to, kind of break into a more consistent role there.
So on July 27, 2021, you signed your contract with the Detroit Tigers. Can you describe for us what that was like and how that experience was?
It was, a very stressful 2 days going through like a lot of phone calls, a lot of speaking with your agent, speaking with scouts. I think it's just, it's taxing for a 21-year-old guy. But I had my parents there, my girlfriend was there. They were great. They were, kept my head on straight. It's easy to kind of get ahead of yourself. Why am I not getting the call yet? Why is, this not happening? But it's all the difference in the world when you have a squad behind you just to keep you level.
Did your dad cry? My dad cries during commercials, so
I think a few tears were shed by everyone, including me. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience. I'm gonna remember that day for the rest of my life.
And the Tigers spring training camp is actually not far from Tampa. So did your parents come to see?
Yeah, they did. So it was convenient because a lot of teams, their spring training is in Arizona,
Florida.
There are other parts of Florida, yeah, but it worked out well because after I got the call, they wanted me to go there and sign. And it was a 45-minute drive to Lakeland. It was easy. Parents got to go and see me in spring training and when I was in low A. So it was a pretty easy transition at first.
Speaking of that, what are you gonna start this year? High A, double A?
I don't know. That's up to the Tigers. You try not to get ahead of yourself. Try not to think of anything. Ended the year in high A last year, but yeah, it just all depends on how I play in spring training and if I keep working during the off season.
So what are some things they've planned for you in 2023? Like any resolutions?
Like the Tigers.
Yeah, the Tigers.
So the main two things they wanted me to put on some more weight, add a couple miles an hour. That's been my main goal the whole off season, just trying to bulk up a bit. Get to that 225 230 mark, which is a challenge in itself, always happening because you can't just stuff your you can't just stuff your face with anything. You gotta have nutrients but in high volume, which gets hard, but it's just part of the job. You just got to treat it, it's your responsibility to get the most out of your body.
Are you a starter, reliever, closer?
They had me relieving and closing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what Maldi and Rob have said. I've interviewed so many closers so far. I can't just interview a starter.
Yeah, they do.
Well, Jack, now it's your turn. You want to ask me any questions or?
Yeah. So when did you fall in love with the game?
When I was so actually I started playing soccer. My dad made me play soccer because he played soccer throughout college, and he just loves the game of soccer. So I started with soccer for one season. And conveniently, the soccer field was 20 feet away from the baseball field.
Really?
So I could just watch people play games, and it was so cool. So when I joined baseball, I just fell in love with it straight. I never looked back.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I played soccer in high school a little bit. I think it helps a lot with the conditioning side of it because there's a lot more running in soccer than in baseball.
I'm starting winter basketball, so
nice.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, that's something I would recommend to a lot of kids your age is playing multiple sports. I know it's easy to find one sport and really put all your effort into it, but it's very helpful to be athletic all throughout, getting different types of movements going. But that's great that you're one step ahead.
Anything else?
Yeah, what has been so you've been working out with Steven. You've been guys, he's been in here with the other pro guys, he's been grinding with us. What has been one thing that you've taken away training with guys at a higher level?
Ooh, I like well, obviously I'm just watching them lift 400 pounds, so it's not really helping me. But when they actually practice, hit a lot, they can give me lots of tips, like hitting. And that's what Quincy's been doing.
Yeah.
With me, and it's actually been really, really helpful.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, a lot of the stuff you won't, understand just quite yet, but I think it's helpful that you're going out of your comfort zone. You're watching guys that are a higher level, and it's all it's doing is just pushing you to get there a little bit faster, get your bearings. So I
Yeah.
think it's definitely helpful for you.
Well, it's now time for the not so rapid fire questions, actually.
All right, perfect.
You ready?
Yeah.
You can answer as much or as little info as you want.
All right.
So favorite spot to hang out in Tampa? My house.
Bar Taco.
Where's that?
Bar Tacos in Hyde Park. And Hyde Park's a great area. It's always, popping. There's always a lot of people. It's fun to go for dinner.
Do you like the beach or the mountains better?
Beach.
Because you grew up on the beach.
Yeah, I grew up going to, my friends' beach houses. We were on boats all the time, so.
Mm. Who likes the mountains? I mean, like people from Colorado, maybe.
I'd assume people who like ski and snowboard,
That's
probably.
true, yeah. So which current major league batter would you like to face?
I want to say Judge, because if I somehow got him out, I would, never forget that.
Do you think you'd do well against them?
I don't know.
Like right now?
Right now, I don't know. I think I'd be more scared not to hit him and hurt anything on him.
And more scared to give up 63.
Yeah, number 63.
So do you play any instruments or have a hidden talent?
Yeah, I play guitar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Like with like your free time or like professionally or?
No, just pastime. I started playing when I was 9. My parents, they wanted me to play sports, which I loved, but they also wanted me to play an instrument, just to be a little well-rounded, and picked up a guitar and loved it. So I've been playing since I was 9 years old.
Do you know any songs?
Yeah, I know a good amount. I haven't played in a while since I've been up here. Steven's been kicking my butt, so I haven't had a ton of time. But yeah, I know a decent amount.
Okay. So favorite baseball movie? We asked everyone this question.
Favorite baseball movie? Bad News Bears.
Okay.
I think that's a funny one.
I think I might have seen that once when like 3 years ago maybe.
Yeah, it's a classic. I think it's the good mix of it's a good baseball movie. Also has a little humor in it.
How do you relate to that movie?
I see they're all little leaguers. The little league, they're not the best players.
Mhm.
Kind of reminds me of when I first started.
I asked Rob and he said I don't. He played Sandlot and he said I don't. I'm like, okay. Well, okay, we did it. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I had a great time. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you want to follow Jack Anderson's career, even though he's a null, it's at @_ Jack Anderson 99 on Instagram. And you can help my show by subscribing to Baseball Podcasts Are Fun on YouTube and Instagram and Spotify, and going to my new website, baseballpodcastaretfun.com. Please stay tuned for next week's guest. Until then, that was Jack Anderson. I am Grayson Knight, and this was Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya!